Hello, everybody. We have a solid outline that we've been working on, and we've been mentioning this since our last in-person collaboration. It's like what you saw in the title. XRP, Hedera hbar, even Quant, Stronghold SHX, and even, I know it's a shocker, especially from me, XPR Metallicus, the whole thing of proton. Yeah, believe it or not, I'm saying it. That's how they all come together and what they bring to the table when it comes to this whole topic of FedNow. Rue and I, a couple years ago, did an outline in regards to XRP and FedNow, Stellar and FedNow, and Hedera and FedNow. If you have been around on our channels, you already know that we've covered this. This is an update, once again, from us, once again. If you're new, consider smashing that like. It does help the channel. If you're regular, we do appreciate it. Before we kick it into this deep dive outline, we kindly ask you to check out the Decent Wallet. It helps benefit both channels. As the saying goes, not your keys, not your crypto. Get yourself a significant discount in the links that are in the description. We're going to play that, and then we're going to come right back.
If managing your crypto feels like solving a puzzle, it's time to switch to Decent Wallet. So just a few taps, you can manage, track, and secure your crypto with unmatched ease. And here's the best part. Grab your Decent Wallet at a discounted price by using the referral link below. Don't miss out on making your crypto experience smoother and more secure.
All right, welcome back. So let's jump into what we have. And basically, it first comes from Gilmore Estates. What is this all about? Well, as it comes up on your screen, at the time it was breaking news, but whatever the case be, you might not be aware of this. A World Economic Forum member, and we understand a lot of you guys are against that World Economic Forum, so don't shoot the messenger here, has confirmed that hbar has been integrated into the Federal Reserve to expand its partnership, of course, with Ripple XRP, paving the way for what is referred to as RLUSD payments. I do agree that this is a game changer, but the move sets the stage for an interoperability layer between hbar and XRP, revolutionizing the future of digital payments. The future of finance is unfolding before our eyes. Now, I'll state this real quick. For a lot of us, when we see some of these statements about interoperability, if you're a quant fanatic, you're immediately thinking of quant. But you also got to keep in mind that there's other forms of interoperability. Could it be, for example, interledger? Could it be the whole thing of maybe what Hedera brings to the table? We will inject a little bit of what Quant brings to the table here in a bit, but where the case be, going to get back into this outline. What we have also here is like what it says that, you see some of the integration, and like it shows, Hedera, FedNow, and of course Ripple. This was originally reported on February 26th. Rue and I are expanding upon that. As we take the next post, I want to give a shout out to our brother in the community, the one and only Mentalect with the great intellect. He cites the original article from CNBC, but I like his statement more than the article. It says XRP is the single most important asset in the U.S. Strategic Reserve. The United States needs to buy XRP from the open market, not from Ripple's escrow, because it's not a U.S. discount slush fund, but Ripple's biggest asset to maximize profits for its shareholders. And this is, of course, in light of Trump announcing the Strategic Crypto Reserve, which included obviously BTC, Solana, Cardano, XRP, and more. All right, before we kick it on over to Rue, shout out to Edo Farina. You guys are very familiar with him. He states the digital gold backed by U.S. reserves is XRP. It's a must read. I would agree. Now, this part I will read verbatim. Fort Knox. Let's begin with Fort Knox, because let's face it, everybody. A lot of news recently when it comes to Elon Musk and Fort Knox. Some people feel as though, like, is there really enough gold bullion there? We'll find out. But again, let's jump back to this. So we know that it's supposedly a highly secured United States Army installation in Kentucky, but recently the whole thing with Elon Musk suggests possibly otherwise. Here's the quote. There's like 5,000 tons of gold in Fort Knox. We all want to see it. This is your gold. It's the public's gold. I don't know if it is there. We just want to see it and make sure someone didn't spray paint some lead or something. Part of this is also to have some fun, and it's the public's goal, so we have the right to see it. Yeah, 100%. Officially, Fort Knox holds supposedly $186 billion worth of gold, widely believed to be a significant portion, of course, of the entire U.S. gold reserves. Now, in regards to this whole thing of the Genesis block of 1-32570, back in June of 2012, XRP Ledger, aka the XRPL, had gone live and it was actively processing, of course, transactions. However, in its early days, the ledger had several resets due to technical issues. At least that's the official version, of course, from Ripple. As a result, the first 32,570 ledgers were completely erased, meaning that the first week of transactions on the XRPL is missing from history. The version of XRPL that we know today officially began in December of 2012. And of course, you can read more about that if you want, which is from onxrp.com. But back to the topic of Genesis wallets. There are 136 known quote-unquote Genesis wallets. Among them, one stands out, and that is the one that's referred to as x.fortknox.b. Initially, that one on that wallet initially held 6 billion XRP, but it's the tracking of the transactions from this wallet. And according to Edo Farina, it is evident that XRP was held there, and it was definitely directly from Ripple, but that's not all. And if anything, we're going to zoom in a little bit about this. So for one, you see what is originally cited from the XRP LEX, or Explorer, XRPL Explorer, excuse me. And again, he cites the amounts. For example, on the Genesis balance was roughly, let's say 369, so that would be in the billions. So 5,919,999,000. You get the gist. When we go to the next part, he also cites what you see here on line 131, if you want to verify it for yourself. And then the next part, which is from XRP Scan, you see, for example, the destination from Ripple 32, and of course what was delivered in regards to XRP. So we jump to the last part. Well, again, a picture supposedly of how it would look like. Well, that's what's in question. Before we kick it on over to Rue, I want you guys to also see this. This is also pretty good. It's the other wallet. It's what's referred to as X Distributor. They held 80% of the total XRP supply at one point. Now, back in January 26 of 2013, they had just 9 transactions, and nearly the entire supply was distributed into separate wallets. As he dug deeper, he saw some of the other things that were more intriguing, and again, all the references to Fort Knox. Was XRP secretly designed as the backbone of a new digital gold standard hidden in plain sight all this time? Well, inquiring minds want to basically know, but whatever the case be, Fort Knox 1 through 9 wallets. Again, if you want to nerd it out, look more into it. But I've been doing an ongoing series about the concept of XRP tied to gold and so on. Now, I'm not talking about at troy ounces. I'm talking about things kind of like this, or anything relating to gold and XRP moving forward, especially when it comes to the United States. Let's take it to the next part of what we have from Edo Farina. He goes on to mention the transactions and how basically this all started back in January 26 of 2013. What was in, what was out, so on and so forth. But those amounts for XRP are absolutely mind-boggling and definitely worth sharing. And of course, that brings us to what? Well, it's paying attention to all this. And I won't play all of it. Maybe later we'll do an update. But again, Edo Farina. Rosie Rios, as we know, is the former United States Treasurer whose signature is on the $100 bill, was added to Ripple's board of directors. What's even more shocking is that Rosie Rios definitely had direct oversight of the U.S. gold reserves during that time of when all these transacted over at Fort Knox. Call it alpha, call it whatever you want. Give Edo Farina a follow. He deserves it. And he goes into mentioning that tracking down some of the XRP initially held by X Fort Knox B, we see those later sent to Ripple in these particular transactions, and it's all there. You want to follow the money trail? Again, it's all there. The bottom line is this. When you see these statements, about, for example, back in May of 2014, the woman whose signature graces billions of U.S. notes, well, she also oversaw, I should say, the gold reserves at Fort Knox at that time. And like it says, gold standard. She also rejects the notion that her Hispanic heritage might influence her daily activities, right? But the treasurer believes at that time that her own previous experience in areas such as economic development, real estate investments made her a good choice for the post at the time when the recent global financial crisis was at its height. And if anything, she's still part of Ripple. I think that is all worth pointing out. Rue, I got to get your thoughts about this. I know that you've read this over. We've been working on this for a little over a week. So, what did you gather? What are some of your thoughts in light of everything being presented in the news or from Edo Farina?
I think it's really interesting. Some people had said, like in Trump's first presidency, it had always been flowing around that Trump was going to be tied in with XRP in his first presidency. I thought that was funny that people had said that, and now look and behold, we have beef bourguignon and all of that other stuff. But also, people had been saying XRP is going to be tied into gold. XRP is going to be tied into gold. So it's very, very interesting to see this now. And that's some excellent research he did there, with Rosie Rios being in charge of the Fort Knox, and then Fort Knox being a client. That's like really, really awesome research there. Yeah, I completely agree, and I completely like it. And just some other things, if you can bring it back up as far as numerically and symbolically. I saw there's a lot of nines there. First, the transactions were done on 1, 2, 6. So 1 plus 2 plus 6 is 9 there, that date. I think they also said it was done in 9 transactions. And they also said something about a 163, and 63 is 9. If you can go back to I think the first post right here, it says January 26, 2013. So could be something, could be nothing, but 126 is 9, and they did it in just 9 transactions. So I find that very like interesting. Could be something, could be nothing. And also they keep quoting Fort Knox. They keep putting it in quotes. So I'm interested in putting Fort Knox into like a gematria calculator and see what we get there. I'm going to do that right now. I'll share it with you guys so you can see it live. Okay, interesting. So if you guys are familiar with different numbers, this 1, 2, 3. So this 1, 2, 3 is 6. This is 6, and this is 3. So anything you add to 9, you basically get that number. So 9 plus 3 is 12. 1 plus 2 is 3. So this is the same set of numbers as Saturn. If you guys are familiar with Saturn, it's a god of time, Chronos, if you will. Saturn and Bitcoin have like a lot of coincidences with themselves in that they chose 21 million Bitcoins, and Saturn being the god of time. How do you mine Bitcoin? You mine Bitcoin using proof of work. So that's a time algorithm there. And just to show you guys what I mean, you got 93. So obviously these two are synced up. These two are synced up, and then the 42. So these two and these two are synced up. So it's kind of synced up with the god Saturn, and of course we know Stellar's logo. That is a Saturn. That is just a Saturn, right? So just some interesting symbolism things there to point out.
All right. Well, thank you for that, Rue. The next part we're going to get into is basically jumping back to what we have that's part of this outline. This time is from our brother in the community, who is Smoke. Some of the best research out there, in my opinion. he has something that I definitely think shouldn't be missing from this outline. As you are about to see here, it is this. And he mentions that back in January, just 5 days after the inauguration, well, Smoke laid out, quote, why XRP is the strongest candidate for a U.S. strategic crypto reserve. I mean, you know what? Give this guy the flowers. He called it before everybody else. The evidence was clear based on the documents that he reviewed. And now, lo and behold, XRP has been named first in a list of crypto assets for the United States Strategic Crypto Reserve, exactly as expected. See for yourself a call with not just partial accuracy, 100% accuracy. He posted this on literally January 25th. And he made his case, and we did see this. So XRP stands out as the strongest candidate. Boom, it's already been done. Well, it was because of its unique combination of the United States origin, global adoption, and robust infrastructure. As highlighted in the data, U.S. lags behind other countries in blockchain dominance, with only 5% of blockchain protocol market cap originating domestically, but this stark contrast to the internet sector, where United States-based companies dominate with a commanding 78% share of just that, the global market cap. XRP, of course, developed by Ripple, one of the few globally recognized blockchain protocols rooted in the United States, making it a critical asset for repairing this disparity and strengthening America's influence in the rapidly evolving blockchain space. With widespread institutional adoption and a proven track record of cross border payment efficiency, XRP provides the stability and utility necessary for a reserve asset. Additionally, its global reach, as seen in partnerships and operations spanning multiple continents, ensures that it can serve as a bridge currency in the international financial system. How many years? For over 7 years, people have been talking about this, and a lot of them have been made fun of, ridiculed, saying it will never be a world bridge currency. And what did you see? Literally, our president officially recognizing it. And I understand that he also picked Solana and Cardano, but I think Cardano, of course, think about it, everybody, was going to be picked. You know, at the end of the day, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. did get Charles Hoskinson's endorsement. So, you know, RFK Jr. is part of Trump's cabinet. He's going to say, guess what? I think we should also go with Cardano. Think about it. Don't overthink about it. It's not what you have, it's also who you know. As we get further into this, I want you guys to also see this in the specific illustration. And before we get there, it's how we saw that blockchain protocols were increasingly dominated by entities, of course, outside the United States. But Ripple's different. They offer a unique opportunity to help the United States play catch up and reassert leadership in the sector while providing compliant, scalable solution for financial innovation. That's key. The next big part, as far as blast off, as far as I'm concerned, it would be regulations. So it's all documented, and what we have for you on the other screen is to zoom in and share with you this. It's the U.S. presence in internet and blockchain internet companies. And like you see here, I mean, even the ones I've heard Rude talk about on his live show. You have Alphabet, aka Google. You know, these are stock tickers and so on. You have Amazon, you have Meta, all the big players, Netflix, PayPal. But you also see here, number 4th is Ripple XRP as far as blockchain protocols. There'll be a point in time, in my opinion, that Ripple, let's face it, might very well just become number 1. And also in the illustration, you see how it all is broken down. I guess you say in layers of the percentage of developers. So we get back to what Smoke has. He has another great visual. And basically, it's the whole idea of global innovation, how it requires global coverage. The leading blockchain enterprise unicorns by region, year end of 2024, because we're still in 2025. Well, again, even North America, you see Ripple listed there. You see some of the private ones like Fireblocks, but we understand the connections of, for example, Fireblocks and Quant, Fireblocks and Ripple, Fireblocks and with some of the other big ones. And then you see all the other big ones as far as Binance in Europe, and again, all over the map. So we get further into this. The other thing that we want to kick it into, and before I kick it back over to Rue, is this right here. We talked a lot about, for example, the Federal Reserve. Well, if you talk about FedNow, I think Gilbert Verdian should get the honorable mention once again, just in case you're new. Again, still on his particular resume of gilbertverdian.com, it says work history. Gilbert Verdian, creating new technologies and companies to build the future. And when you scroll further down, yeah, you see all these ones. Let's just jump right into it, other than your quants. And is he still part of the Federal Reserve? The answer is yes. Federal Reserve Fed Payments Improvement Community 2018 to present. I think that is definitely worth something to point out, to say the least. So before we kick it on over to the other part of what we have, I want to share with you guys basically this with our brother Rue. And that is, Rue, the way I look at it is there's so much that's here. There's so much that shouldn't be dismissed. And apparently, from what you gathered, you're going to expand upon this, if I'm not mistaking anything. But before we get into what you have in regards to Metallicus, we also are going to mention a little bit of Stronghold. But before we jump into just your thoughts based off of what Smoke provided and all the above.
Well, I think it's another feather in the cap of XRP. It seems like it's very much in line to be a reserve currency. There's no reason to believe that it won't be, with everything in line with the gold, everything in line with the banks. It seems XRP is just lined up to be a reserve currency. I think another thing that we kind of miss in all of this is that Stellar is right there as well. People don't talk about Stellar too much, but it's right there along with XRP.
Yeah, I do think they're right there with XRP. And just a reminder for you guys, we did cover this of the whole thing of Stellar FedNow. In fact, at least on my channel, I'll put an end screen card for you guys about Stellar FedNow and Tenemos. And if you haven't seen that, you're definitely going to want to watch that. It solidifies, in my opinion, the whole big connection with Stellar and, of course, FedNow. The next part we're going to jump over to is the tail end, towards the tail end of what we have of this deep dive and why it matters, is Stronghold. Now, why pull some of this up? Well, basically speaking, I want you guys to keep in mind, I just mentioned the whole thing of Gilbert Verdian. I want to share just a little bit about what is referred to as the Fed Payments Improvement Community. So again, Gilbert Verdian is part of this. When you jump over to fedpaymentsimprovement.org, well, there's an emphasis of the Federal Reserve's Synthetic Identity Fraud Mitigation Toolkit. Now, what's really interesting is the visuals, okay? Let me zoom out just a tad bit because it's a little bit too big. So, again, visuals, faster payments, payment security, and the efficiency. Now, when you get further into it, you see here, again, with the visuals, see how we have that unmasking synthetic identity fraud mitigation toolkits. Well, it's those that are part of the pioneers. We know that Quant has connections to the IETF, the Internet Engineering Task Force. So delivering value with instant payments. I mean, think about the terminology here. Think about also the terminology on the right when it comes to remittances. Stronghold would definitely stand out in that regard. All right. Well, without jumping more into this, I want you guys to understand that, again, it's the terminology. Quant Authorize is part of the suite of products of Quant, and it puts a lot of emphasis on just that fraud and audit and so on. So again, back to the Federal Reserve Synthetic Identity Fraud Mitigation Toolkit. You kind of see how this all comes together. But again, Gilbert Verdian being part of this, specifically Fed Payments Improvement. Think about it. Again, don't overthink about it. As we jump also to the next part, it opens up this. And this is, again, where I think it really, really gets interesting. So it talks about America's Credit Unions Governmental Affairs Conference. Again, back to the whole thing with Hedera. Hedera has the whole thing with credit unions. Bank Social. Rue is going to show you something in regards to Metallicus, I believe, and also credit unions. So again, focus on credit unions and focus on March 2nd through 6th. This concluded today in Washington, D.C. But now you see an emphasis from literally this reference from FedNow to fedpaymentsimprovement.org about how to be out on the lookout for what is referred to as this specific booth at the exhibit hall in Washington, D.C. on how they discuss how credit unions can benefit from adoption of instant payments. And do they mention ISO 222? They do. Boil it, mash it, stick it in a stew. It mentions it right there and talks about how that is going to create what is called fraud mitigation. So there's attendees, and again, this happened not that long ago, Tuesday, March 4th, but then it ended today in Washington, D.C. So you can see the shift, if you will. And like it also mentioned, is the whole thing of Independent Community Bankers of America. Okay, so this all came together, and there's going to be something they expand on March 11th through the 14th. But again, these people coming together to make this specifically happen, I think that's a big deal moving forward. And that brings us to the part of Stronghold, because look what it mentions on the same site from fedpaymentsimprovement.org. Talks about these events coming up in the spring, and NACHA is mentioned. Smarter, Faster Payments 2025. We know that when it comes to this, everybody, that NACHA is definitely part of the mix, and Stronghold has a direct partnership, of course, with NACHA. As we further get into this outline, you see that the FRFS is one of the largest gatherings for payment professionals. NACHA Smarter Faster Payments Conference will be in April, and Smarter Faster Payments is an annual event focused on payments education to drive innovation and the services and so on. So to me, this is a big deal moving forward. But again, back to the Federal Reserve, because the FedNow service mark is part of the Federal Reserve of banks, and that mark is related to financial services, products that are offered for the institutions. But more importantly, does it highlight ISO? It does. Why would they go through all the trouble about this? And basically, to connect it to Stronghold, we'll think about it. Why would Stronghold have a pinned message that dates back to February 19th from Tammy Camp about some of these things that you see here? About escrow time locks, secure transactions, again, terminology, crypto plus AI, reshaping the future payments, and then this last one, ISO 222, unlocking more powerful payment data. I think all this is definitely worth pointing out. And again, just in case you're wondering, this wrapped up again on the 6th, because that was America's Credit Union's Governmental Affairs. And this other thing that's coming up, which is really interesting in my opinion, back to NACHA, because they're directly partnered with Stronghold. You see on April 27th through the 30th, NACHA Smarter Payment Conference, April 27th and 30th. And hopefully myself and Ryu can attend this in September 28th through October 1st, right here in Phoenix, Arizona, where America's Credit Unions Operations and Member Experience Council and Technology Council Conference, like it says, offsite right here in Phoenix. So I'm going to kick it back over to Rue, because I know you have some other things that you want to get into. So we're going to pull this up on the screen. And Rue, your thoughts and what do you have for us?
So this is really cool about XPR. Max mentioned earlier about Gilbert Verdian being a part of Fed Payments, and we know that Metallicus is a part of the FedNow showcase. Now, he also mentioned FedNow with credit unions, and Metallicus has just recently been a big focus for credit unions. So you definitely want to think about this. You may want to think about this when you're looking at your portfolio, and not to discount or sleep on Metallicus. Okay, so showcase service provider Metallicus. So they were picked by FedNow, our service provider showcase. So Metallicus, the core developer of Metal blockchain and industry leader in blockchain innovation tailored to the financial sector, champion security and compliance. This focus ensures delivery and secure real-time blockchain service to banks and their clients, offering private and permissioned blockchain solutions for transitioning from legacy payment systems, which was really important there. Metallicus will leverage a financial institution to service provider integration model to support financial institutions in utilizing the FedNow service through digital wallets and advanced blockchain solutions based around data transparency and data service. Enhanced digital identity verification adds an extra layer of security and trust, both for banks and customers, ensuring secure and compliant financial operations and rapidly transforming financial landscape. Metal blockchain offers a real-time payment processing, reduced transmission costs, and efficient automated operations, all underpinned by advanced digital identity verification and robust escrow capabilities. This positions the company as a trailblazer in compliance-focused blockchain services, providing a seamless and secure platform for the future of financial transactions. Now, this was like earlier. This was in like, I guess like 2023, I believe. But now the focus of what this is has finally begun to take shape. And the way that it's taken shape is in the service of credit unions. So this is from Metallicus's site. It says Metallicus acquires fintech Bonify or Bonifi, connecting 70 plus credit unions to Metal blockchain. If you guys go check on my site, I have two videos about Metallicus. We're going to touch on it just a little bit here, but I definitely suggest you guys go to my channel and check out the two videos I have on Metallicus. We go more in depth there, but we'll touch on it here. So this is December 19th. Metallicus, a leader in blockchain technology for banking, has announced the acquisition of fintech Bonifi, a credit union service organization, CUSO, formerly known as CU Ledger. So here's the ledger again. The two entities will establish a CUSO, allowing blockchain-based products to be leveraged by credit unions that deploy on the digital banking network. This is basically Metallicus's brand, their whole digital banking network. An open source blockchain banking protocol developed by Metallicus, as they say there. The acquisition enables more than 70 of Bonifi's current credit union customers to leverage the capabilities of Metal blockchain, the digital banking network's layer 0 blockchain. And then we have Bonifi has made great progress in bringing blockchain technology to credit unions. We're excited to partner with them, said Marshall Hayner, CEO of Metallicus. With our blockchain development expertise, Bonifi's deep experience in the credit union sector, we're excited to bring, more financial institutions on chain and significantly enhance financial services for their members. Okay, so this is really, really, really huge. And going down here, it says current participants in the Metallicus Banking Innovation Program are incubating use cases such as stablecoins, on-chain identity, asset tokenization, single sign-on, SSO, and smart contracts. Metal blockchain's architecture also allows institutions to operate their own private subnet. That's pretty huge on the digital banking network, facilitating secure instant payments. Here we go with instant payments again, between others without the need for a bridge, while meeting regulatory standards like BSA compliance and ISO 2002. So they're already thinking about this, and that makes sense because they're a part of FedNow. And here it is, the acquisition of Metallicus' recent announcement and of its enablement of instant payment capabilities through the FedNow service. So again, that they even tell you it in the next line. Now, so not only is there that, there's actually more. Here's another partnership with another credit union institution. Payfina and Metallicus partner to extend instant payments and cryptocurrency to U.S. credit unions. So finally, in the U.S. now, they are here. Metallicus, Payfina, Typhoon company. February 25, 25. Metallicus, which is interesting because it's 2 25s there. 225, 25. That's interesting. A leader in blockchain technology for financial institutions has partnered with Payfina, an instant payment service provider, and U.S. Credit Union Service Organization, CUSO, to establish a framework for offering embedded instant payment capabilities coupled with cryptocurrency services to credit union members nationwide. And here they kind of just get into it some more here. We don't have to read the whole thing, but it's pretty interesting here that they're getting everything here done with their with these credit unions. And it just falls right in line with what Max was talking about with Stronghold, right in line with what Max was talking about with Gilbert Verdian. So it seems that Metallicus has its own niche there, or niche with credit unions. Well, what do you think about that, Max?
What really stood out for me was, if you could jump back to it, let me put it on the
Sure.
screen. If you could go back to that part that mentions specifically no need for a bridge. Yeah, that part. Let me read the part to you guys. So it says, Metal blockchain's architecture allows financial institutions to operate their own private subnet on the digital banking network, facilitating secure instant payments between others without the need for a bridge, while meeting regulatory standards like BSA compliance and ISO 222. So for me, it's like this, unless I'm missing something, and this is where I want you to come in. What I gathered here is this. So this separates Metallicus, obviously with XPR, from the pack, because instead of being like a world bridge currency, they can already access the private side of like blockchains and so on. Like for example, let's say you are JP Morgans and whatnot, right? That'd be more the private, the private ledgers, if you will, the private blockchains and so on. You don't need to have that bridge. Their solution already does it. It literally says it right there. Am I missing something here? I want to get your thoughts
No,
on
you're
it.
not. Their solution already does it. And I know that they had a tweet essentially allow a company to spin up their own coin if they want to.
Well, then, with that said, this, in my opinion, puts them in the same category with like what Quant offers, because even with Quant, with the over ledger, we see that you have full interoperability with not just public but also private. What they call private and permissionless blockchain. So you have your J.P. Morgan, the new one I guess is called Kinesis, if I'm not mistaken. So you have
Yeah.
things like that. So this totally separates Metallicus in their own right. I can see why there's so much, emphasis of like, man, there's not enough people covering this and so on. So
I also make a connection to XPR
look at that,
through this
Temenos. Look at
company.
that. It's
Oh,
a
I
stellar
didn't even know
Temenos.
about Temenos,
Yes. Look at
but
that. See how it all comes together? Look at that. Interesting.
Fiserv.
Yeah.
Fiserv is a partner of XPR. And Fiserv is really big in the instant payments world. What do you have to say about Temenos? I didn't even know about them. Please.
Well, it's because, again, I'm gonna put this on the end screen card, and if you're cool with it, I'll give you the link for you to put on yours if people want to see it. But basically, we did the outline a while back. I don't know if it was with you. I at least did it, but it was Stellar, FedNow, and Temenos. Temenos is Stellar's access, if you will, to I can't remember what the thumbnail said, like 8,000 or 11,000 banks. So now we see how all this comes together. All these bigger players, when it comes to FedNow, they're all there. So I
Oh
was
my
glad to
God!
bring to you guys what
You
I have, what Rue had. This is why we collaborate, everybody.
yes, you just made me way more bullish on this coin, man.
Yeah, it's crazy to see this. And just to pull it up again, I'm fully aware of Fiserv. I've seen many publications about them. I think there was a little bit of Quant in the past, but yeah, Temenos definitely stands out there. And what does it say on that? Let's just read real quick. So, explore strategic integrations with top financial service tech companies, collaboratively pioneering, again, that term, pioneering blockchain solutions tailored to the finance sector. That's huge in their company. Like it says, was it about 100 plus blockchains or something, or 100 plus years or something like that? I don't know. It was on the previous one, but I think that's a
So,
big deal. Look at this, Metal Pay API available on Temenos Exchange. So for one, they share what Stellar also has. There's your FedNow plug. Once again, I mean, we already saw it, but now that this solidifies it even that much more, in my opinion.
yep. Yep, and then of course, we have Rarible for any type of real world assets. You can have them as non-fungible tokens through Rarible. But then you said going back here, you wanted to see something here.
Let me see real quick.
The 100 years, you're saying?
Oh yeah, that's right. So yeah, Metallicus fully remote and diverse workplace. What's it say here? Leaders from blockchain, traditional finance world. We are rapidly building out the best team industry. Our advisor board alone has over 100 plus years of executive level experience in the traditional banking sector. I mean, it's just like you can see that they get it. They have to reference the traditional finance, so they're not looking to necessarily recreate the will or just be another interoperable solution. They're literally going bold and stating that they don't need a bridge. Okay, that's pretty interesting, you
And
know?
check this out. Look at some of their advisory board.
Yeah. Yeah, these are all the things you want to see: compliance, all this stuff.
Former Federal Reserve Bank of NY leader. We already know Federal Reserve Bank of NY is basically like the main one. Former Citigroup Chief Compliance Officer, former AI consultant for the Federal Reserve Bank of Boston, and then former managing counsel of BNY Mellon. BNY Mellon with all the different XRP connections they have.
Not only that, Quant. So for one, two things here, real quick, Brew.
Oh,
BNY
nice.
Mellon and Quant, also Citi, Quant, the RLN, and the RSN, the regulated liability network with all those test pilots, regulated settlement network. You have to have settlement. What do we settle with? Things like your Ripple XRPs and so on. So these are all part of the grander, bigger scheme of things, to say the least. This totally makes sense when we get more into it. So great find by you, my friend.
Thank you, homie. Appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. So with that said, guys, we're going to wrap up today's video. Let us know if you listen to the entire outline, and simply type this into the comments, and that is Metallicus, and we'll know that you listened to the entire outline. On behalf of myself and the brother Rue, know what you have, know why you hold it. The research transfer at 110%. We will see you on the next one.
Boom.